F1 has produced numerous moments that will live on in the hearts of fans. Formula One has had a busy year in 2022. Throughout the season, we witnessed battles that had us on the edge of our seats. We witnessed crashes, near collisions, and many moments that left us speechless. Here's a look back at the F1 most memorable moments in 2022. Number 1. This tense clash was the ideal way to begin the season. Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc battled for the lead at the 2022 Bahrain Grand Prix in the season opener. The drivers engaged in a battle at Turn 1. Verstappen attempted to pass Leclerc for the race lead 3 laps in a row. He dived into Turn 1 with DRS and fresh tires in the attempt to catch Leclerc. Verstappen would see Leclerc was slow on the straight on laps 17 and 18 and simply dive down the inside. However, Leclerc was far more astute than Verstappen. He braked early, kept control of his car through the first 3 corners, and then made a solid exit out of Turn 3. He would repass Verstappen into Turn 1 using DRS. Verstappen had fallen further behind Leclerc on lap 19. That didn't stop him from attempting a stunning dive from miles behind into Turn 1. For a while, it appeared that he had made it slick. However, it locked up on the front right in a dramatic way. Leclerc again handled his braking and then switched back Verstappen to keep the lead. Verstappen was therefore unable to challenge Leclerc again. Number 2. This is the moment when Mick Schumacher's car split in half on lap 24 of the 2022 Monaco Grand Prix. This was a major crash that resulted in a red flag. The red flag meant that the 78-lap race couldn't be completed inside the 2-hour time limit. When exiting the fast chicane of turns 13 and 14, Mick Schumacher lost control of his vehicle. His front wing clipped the metal Armco barrier and the wing broke off completely. His automobile then slipped into the Tech Pro barrier at a rather high speed. The impact was powerful enough to break the car in two. The incident not only scattered loose debris throughout the track, but it also damaged the Tech Pro barriers. Number 3. This collision happened on lap 1 of the 2022 Belgian Grand Prix between Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. Alonso started the race in P3 after a superb qualifying season mixed with grid penalties for Verstappen and Leclerc. Hamilton began a P4 behind him, and as the 5 lights went out, they both took advantage of Perez's poor start to gain a position. Alonso found himself in second place, trailing Mercedes. Alonso didn't have a great slipstream since Sainz got off to a fast start. Hamilton, on the other hand, got a fantastic slipstream for Alonso. In the Lee Combe chicane, the 7-time world champion drew alongside Alonso. He went around the outside and was about a quarter car length ahead into the chicane. Alonso gained some ground as he approached the peak of the corner. When the cars approached the apex, Hamilton's rear right tire collided with Alonso's front left, launching the Mercedes into the air. The incident threw Hamilton's car into the air. Both Alonso and Hamilton's cars slid off the track, but they both continued racing. Hamilton sustained front wing damage, but everything appeared to be in order. However, Hamilton suffered a loss of water pressure during the incident and was forced to stop the car and quit from the race. Hamilton had to endure a 45G vertical impact when his car flew off the track and then landed. Number 4. The 2022 British Grand Prix got off to a frantic start, with 2 separate crashes occurring down into Turn 1. One of them was Zhou Guanyu's terrifying barrel roll. Latifi got a solid start and grabbed 2 spots by going down the middle of Russell and Zhou as the 5 red lights went out. Pierre Gasly then recognized an opportunity to follow suit. He went down the center and pulled beside the same drivers halfway. However, because the distance from the grid to Turn 1 is short, Gasly chose to take a step back as the vehicles began to brake for Turn 1. When Gasly slowed down, he clipped Russell's rear left tire as Russell moved across to defend against Zhou. Because Gasly clipped the Mercedes, the Silver Arrow swerved and collided with Zhou's Alfa Romeo. Zhou's rear right tire collided with the spinning Mercedes front left tire. That sent Zhou's car flying off the track and into the gravel trap. Because the car was upside down, the halo and engine cover scraped over the track. The friction caused sparks to fly. On top of that, the car was spinning while upside down. When the car approached the gravel trap, it began bouncing and skipping across it. That's when the automobile went into a barrel roll. Because the car was traveling at such high speeds, it rolled over the tire barrier and collided with the catch netting. The automobile then crashed into the space between the tire barrier and the catch netting. Number 5. This collision happened between Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso, who will race for Aston Martin next year in the 2022 US Grand Prix. This was no ordinary collision. Alonso was attempting to pass Stroll for P7 down the back straight into Turn 12 on lap 22 of 56. Alonso, who was using DRS, was closing in on Stroll quickly, with both drivers exceeding 285 kilometers an hour. Alonso moved to the left to overtake Stroll. Stroll, on the other hand, shifted to the left at the last second to block Alonso. Because Stroll's maneuver was so late, Alonso's front right tire collided with and mounted Stroll's rear left tire, sending Alonso up into the air and then into a wall. The experience was quite upsetting. Stroll made a risky move and it didn't go well. Stroll suffered a flat tire and had to retire, but Alonso was able to continue. Thankfully, both drivers were unharmed. Number 6. Kevin Magnussen took his comeback to the next level by accomplishing something he had never done before at the 2022 Brazilian Grand Prix. Kevin Magnussen won pole position in a hectic, wet qualifying season. Magnussen qualified in Q3, which was quite an accomplishment given that he was battling against considerably stronger cars. The track was dry in the early minutes of Q3, but it was getting wetter. Softs were still the best choice. Magnussen was first out of the pit lane and put a lap in on the new softs. As the season went, the track became wetter, causing lap times to slow, putting K-Mag on a provisional pole. Then, with 8 minutes remaining in the season, George Russell crashed, resulting in a red flag. When racing resumed, it was raining properly, which meant Kevin Magnussen would start the sprint race in pole position. The Haas garage screamed with joy when K-Mag became the team's first pole sitter. Number 7. Max Verstappen dominating the 2022 season, setting the record for the most race victories in a season with 15. However, his Drivers' Championship victory left everyone perplexed, including Verstappen. Verstappen won his second championship at the Japanese Grand Prix, but it wasn't until it was revealed that Charles Leclerc, who had finished second, had been penalized for cutting the last curve. Due to the penalty, he officially finished third, putting Verstappen in a position where no one could catch up to his points. The Belgian-Dutch driver had already completed his post-race interview when he was called back to be told he had won the championship. And when he watched the driver's head into the cool-down room, Verstappen was still unsure if he had actually won or not. Number 8. Sergio Perez is well known for his support of Max Verstappen. He's given up his own performance several times to assist Max or allow Max to win the race. Red Bull asked Verstappen to let Perez pass at the 2022 Brazilian GP so that he could collect important points in his pursuit for second place in the Drivers' Championship. Verstappen, on the other hand, defied team directives and maintained his lead over Perez. Red Bull robbed him of the win at the 2022 Spanish Grand Prix by forcing him to move out of the way for Verstappen. Verstappen now refuses to do the same. Max's behavior clearly irritated Perez, who stated that it revealed who he truly is. Max advised the squad not to ask him that again, stating he expressed his reason last summer and stands by them. Number 9. Charles Leclerc led the 2022 French Grand Prix in the early stages. On lap 18, though, on worn tires, he suffered a snap of oversteer when passing through Lee Bosset, sending him spinning and into the barriers. Leclerc had 2 DNFs prior to this one, but both were mechanical failures. This was the first time in the season that Leclerc had to withdraw from a race owing to his own errors, and it was definitely a mental blow for him. When he screamed over the radio shortly after crashing, you could sense the misery in his voice. Number 10. It was reaching the end of the season and Mercedes had yet to win a race. As we approached the Brazilian Grand Prix weekend, there was a lot of expectation for Lewis Hamilton to win after being granted honorary Brazilian citizenship. However, Hamilton's colleague George Russell had an outstanding race, leading the majority of the way and going on to claim the team's first and only win of the season, as well as his first career win. Hamilton finished second, giving the team, which had struggled with the W13 all season, a great 1-2 finish.